Welcome, everybody. This is Jesse Hansen of Cornerstone Creative Studios coming at you at another session of Cadre Inks. Today, I will be inking from probably do a couple different sources, but for the first time I'm going to go at it is I'm going to be working on a story called Joan of Arc, issue number 2. And I'm really excited about this book because we did the first issue and it came out so good that I just can't say enough about it. And we were blessed with the fact that enough fans liked it that Voyage came back to us and said, hey, we want you to do issue number 2 now. So Cornerstone Creative Studios was brought in to do that for them. And here we go. This is just one of the pages in it. Pencils done by Alexander Nascimento, inks by myself, and colors will be brought in by a new colorist that even I don't know yet. So I'm excited to see who that becomes. And then it'll be lettered by the infamous James Reed. So 3 out of 4 of the members working on the creative team are all from Cornerstone Creative Studios, and I am excited about that. That being said, let's get back to work. And if you have any questions at all, we're over here on YouTube, so feel free to chime in at the Cornerstone Creative Studios YouTube channel, and let me know you're there. All righty. All right, let's get to work. Thanks. Let me turn this on real quick here. Let's see. Okay, real quick here, let me run through this. So excuse me while you wait. And I think we're good. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Back to work. Back to work, Jesse. Back to work. So here we go. If I get my pen to work correctly here, there we go. Now I love working over Alexander's work because he's so crisp and pristine, or pristine, I should say the word is. But at the same time, he allows me a lot of freedom to play. And by doing so, I think we usually get out some pretty good results. I hope you guys check out the book and see what you think about it as well, and let us know. And better yet, let them know and tell them to let us know. It really is a well brought together company. They do a good job over there, and I'm proud to be associated with a number of their titles. Not only are we bringing to the world Joan of Arc, or the mission of Joan of Arc, we also are working on a book, Jonah's Voyage to the City of Atlantis. Yeah, that's going to be really, really cool. I think you guys are going to like that. It's also brought to you by Cornerstone Creative Studios. A little bit different creative team. The creative team brought on board for that is Alessandro Ventura, myself, Brian Magnier, and again, James Reed. So basically, a different penciler and a different colorist. And we're excited about that as well. Let me do this real quick just so a little bit of a backlight on the back of this guy's cowl. There we go, that takes care of that. Yeah, chime in. I will check back at the YouTube here and there and see if there's any questions. If you have any questions at all, by all means, chime in and say hey. Or just say hi anyway. Just type in the messages and say hi. That way I know you're there, and you can at least say hello and let you know you care. All right, so let me get back to this here. Every now and then my pen's been acting up lately, but that's all right. I need a new tip here soon. All right. Let me check my link back here real quick. Oops. That's when I'll get my pin all tangled up there. There we go. Back up and running. Yay. All right, a little bit thicker tip here for this part. Okay, I thought I was up and running. Every now and then I have problems. Some of these adapters is kind of crazy. Just kidding. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. That's my mouse. We're not going to work with the mouse. Let me... what I was doing originally. Cord out there. There we go. That's all it was a loose cord. Technology, you gotta love it, or you can hate it, but nowadays you absolutely have to have it. Let's go here. Now, I'm an old school kind of guy, so I don't use like a bunch of fancy brushes and stuff like that. I believe in letting the artwork speak for itself and letting the technique speak for itself. Now, I may change my tune down the road. You never know. As I learn more of what some of this stuff is capable of course, because I'm not so stuck in the art, dark ages that I'm not willing to learn. And those of you that know me know I try to pride myself on trying to be a sponge at the same time. I mean, I've been working with computers and stuff since '84. You're talking, okay, I'm about to show my age, back in 5th grade and stuff like that. When I first moved to Florida, I was introduced to computers, and don't get me wrong, I love them because I used to build them and did all kinds of stuff back in the day, but now they make it so that it's just more affordable to buy a new one. Disposable computers, unless it's a gaming computer, then it's more like upgrading computers nonstop instead of getting rid of them. On my computer, it serves its purpose. If anybody wants to turn in some charity and buy me a new one, hey, I'm not too proud. Just kidding. Oh, not really, but you know what I mean. All right, so let's see. What I might do is I might work on this a little bit and then go on to something else. I'll come back to it later. The reason being is I can't really show too much of it without permission. You can show a glimpse of it here and there, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble either, or myself in trouble, of course. Now, if the publisher comes to me and says, "Hey, you can show all you want," then by all means, I'll link full pages and everything else on here. If y'all want to watch it, I'll link it. I'm doing snippets here and there. Something there. As of yesterday, officially working on 5. No, let's see. 6 titles currently is their anchor. One is currently in its crowdfunding stage. That's Tales from Nocturnia. Look it up on Kickstarter and show your love and support there. We've been blessed already with the fact that it met its minimum goal. So now Matt and Steph over there in Symmetry are working up all kinds of new little extra rewards for those that go beyond a certain points, you know, stretch goals and stuff. And makes us look good too if you go over there and show some support. Tell them, hey, we know the guys that you got working on it. That book is brought to you by a few members of our studio as well. A couple of names you'll recognize already from earlier statements. Because I like to work with certain creative team members that prove themselves time and time again. One such member is Brian Magnier. He's going to be doing the colors on Tales from Nocturnia. I'm going to be doing the inks again. And then this is issue number 3 now for Tales from Nocturnia. And you're going to get all kinds of other freebies and added on bonuses and stuff like that. But what I was saying was the penciler has been changed out for one of our other guys, Stephen Baker. Brings his unique touch to the title. And it's already been pretty cool working on that with him. I knew he was a talented young man when he came in the studio, so I'll say young because I don't know his real age. But I'd have to look it up. They're all young to me. But he brings a nice attention to detail and consistency to the title that I think people are going to dig. I really do. So that's another good book to check out, everybody. You get this line work down here, and then I will go check to see if anybody's chatted anything. Any questions for me? I get working and kind of lose track that there might be other people watching because I'm not used to that. Let's go look. All right. Anybody chatting? Nope. Nobody chatting yet. That is quite fine. That's fine. Because if you're not chatting, I'll keep on working. Let's see. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Check that out real quick. Excuse me, would you? Perhaps I'll have one of my studio members come in and join us and answer any questions that people might have while I work. If not, then that's fine too. Go it alone. Mano Imano with the world. And why is my see? I did all that hustling and bustling. My camera went sideways, so all you got to see here is the top of my desk. I'm back now, though. A lot of people in the world going, oh no, not him again. That's all right. Let's see, I need to do this. See a little bit of the inks. I keep a middle layer when I'm doing my digital inks. It's a white layer, so I can just kind of block out the blue rather than turn the blue off. Because if you don't have that and you just turn the blue layer off, my underlying blue line, then you get to see the grid pattern. Yet it doesn't tell you anything. So with the white, I can see just lines. I don't have to be distracted by all the other stuff. In case anybody's curious. If you don't want to know, then hey, well, you don't have to pay attention. Yeah, but that's what I do. Yeah. Seems to help me a little bit keep track of where I've done, where I left off, that kind of stuff. Get back to that area. Go back and do my texture work and stuff like that. Ooh, am I getting in trouble? I'll whistle a famous tune. Oh no. I only did it for a second. Okay, here we go. Strokes. There we go. Beautiful. A little bit smaller strokes now. I don't know how long I'll be on here, but I'm just going to ink and work. And if everybody chimes in, great. If not, no big deal. I'm going to be doing the work either way. Trust me, I like to hear from people, though. You know, I like to know that people are paying attention or watching in a non-voyeur type weird way. I charge extra for that. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Another reason I want to make sure I got this live streaming stuff up right and working was because with the kids all going back to school soon, it looks like that's going to be the way they're going to be communicating with their teachers, and that's important to make sure that they are able to. For those of you that don't know, I have a young little 10-year-old named Cadre, and he's going to be going back to school here soon. Now that everything's kind of being forced down our throats and saying, hey, we've got to put him back in school. And me personally, I'm not putting him back in there physically. I'm going to do the virtual where they can actually interact with the teachers online and stuff like that, because I'm not trusting anything when it comes to his well-being. Now, there are other reasons to why that is. I mean, if he was just a normal, healthy young boy and I wasn't worried about things or something like that. It may be different. So for those parents that do decide to go ahead and let their kids go back to school, that's, that's their situation. I don't know what their situation is. I don't know the child's health issues or any health issues in their family or their homestead. All those things should play in part of why you make certain decisions. And with our situations the way they are, and the fact that he used to get sick all the time from school as it was before all this stuff happened, we're deciding to just play it safe. And some other situations we got going on, we're going to keep him home and do that. And I like having him around anyway, so it's a win-win for me. I'm going to do something real quick. Let me I gotta do something real quick here. Excuse me one moment. And I will. We're about let the Facebook people that follow my story know that we're here real quick. Not that they probably really care, but why not let them know anyway? Let's see. Come on. Remember what I said about technology earlier? Yeah. It's one of those things. There we go. There you go. Just figured I'd throw it on my story real quick just to whatever. All right, back to work. Back to work, Jesse, back to work. Slacker. That's what the publishers are saying right now. They're saying, what are you doing? Get out of work. I would if my pen would cooperate with me. There we go. All right, let's see. Spin that around a little bit. And the reason I spin it around is so that I can get a better brush stroke. It's more of a natural fluid motion to go at a diagonal than straight on when it comes to me digitally inking. Now, when I'm doing it traditionally, it could be a little differently because I can move the paper around or whatever. That's what I'm doing here too. Now, if anybody wants to know what software I'm using, I am using an old version of Manga Studio before it went on to Clip Studio. I just haven't upgraded. And paint broke, I'm not fixing it type thing, you know? This way. Switch tools here. There we go. Let's see. Maybe we can run a little trivia game while we're here. I'll wait till a few people show up, if people show up. I didn't schedule this or plan it, so it's not like people knew I was going to be online and in the middle of the day on a Wednesday, like they're going to go, hey, you know. Jesse's online. So let's go stop doing what we're doing and go see him. Yeah. Let's see. Where is my? There it is. All right. You can see it. All right, let's cut the scene and save what we're doing here. And let's see. Okay, so that looks like it's saved, I think. Not yet. Still saving. There it is. It says waiting to file. Writing to file, sorry. Can't read. So I'm an artist, so I don't have to read. Close that out. Let's open up something fresh. Let's see. Let's do something with our studio, shall we? Let's see. What character should we play with today? Let's play with, so many to pick from, so many to play with. Let's see, does Kinetic have anything in him that needs to be inked up today? Let's see. Let's see. And while I look for that, let me show you all Kinetic. This is Kinetic. All his little glory. So while I find something to ink real quick, I will leave that up for you until I find something fun. Most of his stuff has already been inked. He doesn't have a lot of pending pieces out here because we've already knocked out a bunch of them. That being said, maybe I'll have to come in here and draw another one in a live session here soon. That might be kind of cool. Ooh. That was not bad. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit more. You know what I could do? I could work on a page from the World Tour. For those of you that don't know, Kinetic actually has 2 titles in the works. Excuse me. One is a one-shot, and the other is a actual regular series. And so we're excited. The one-shot is going to be fun because it will actually somewhat introduce all the major players in the Cornerverse. And some of you are asking, what the heck is a Cornerverse? Cornerverse is our own universe. It's the Cornerstone Creative Studios universe. Thus, the Cornerverse. So let me, I know what I'll do. I'll just ink this panel right here. Now this character here that I'm about to unload on y'all is a character that's going to be in the World Tour book, the one shot. He wasn't originally going to be a big player into the some of the stages we were going to do, but as his character developed, and the more we worked on him, and he just kind of started blossoming. And the initial concept behind him was already freaking cool, but we worked on it some more, and the more and more we played with it, the more, well, me personally, the more I enjoyed him. That being said, he down the line, he's going to be a major player. So I will share that with you here in a second. So that'd be kind of cool. For those of you that don't know who this character is when I bring him up, yes, he is in the book Kinetic World Tour. Yes, he will be part of a Victor Champion story we're going to be working on. He is, well, he's going to be doing a lot. I mean, he's not going to have his own startup title at first. We're going to see how the fans base him. But I think people are going to really dig him. I really do. And if that's the case, we'll see where things take us. Just waiting for it to upload here. I'm still here. Papa TV Reactions says, hey, also known T3 Comics Presents, says, yo, Jesse. Well, yo back, guys, yo back. I know who, I believe both those people are. I know T3 Comics. That is Tom Rapka and his studio. Hey, Tom, how you doing? Tom's got some pretty cool things in the works as well. Could bring him in here if people want to say hey, and bring him in here, let him chit chat some. We'll have to work up something where we can actually have a live chat session together. That'd be kind of cool. Known Tom for a little while now, and he's good people. Okay, here we go. Now I am going to limit this really to just one panel for a couple different reasons. One, because I'm still tightening up the pencils on the panel above it. I'm going to do the inks. I'm going to basically tighten up this panel with the inks as I'm inking it. Because it's tight enough. Joseph Arnold, phenomenal artist, did the, he's the one that did the, the rough pencils for this issue. And I'm supposed to go back in there and do the tight pencils and then come back and ink it. So that would be one of the crowdfunders we can do here soon. First, we're going to do American Eagle. because we got the penciler. He's working hard at that right now. We're going to do that crowdfunding campaign here soon. And then we're going to follow that crowdfunding with the, with the kinetic one, probably. Most likely kinetic, since it's closest to production. All right, is my thing loaded up here yet? Let's see. Still doing. Excuse the wait. Remember what I said earlier about the computer working good enough for me? Well, when you're dealing with 1200 DPI files, live streaming, and everything else, it can tax it all. So we do what we can. But here we go. All right, let me share that with everybody here now that I've done that. Share application. Boom. Okay, this character here is, I'll wait till it shows up on the screen here. Might take a second. Streaming isn't an exact science if you don't know what you're doing. All right, there we go. This is Immortal Lion. He was brought to the studio by John Jackman, aka Jax. He is I don't want to say too much about him because it might let loose too much, but let's just say he's an immortal Viking. And the reason I say immortal Viking because he was cursed. And if you know anything about the Vikings in Norse mythology and stuff like that, you know that their ultimate goal in life is to die in battle. Because if they die in battle, then they can go into Valhalla and basically live the good life in the afterlife. Well, he ticked off the wrong people, and they cursed him with immortality. Now, for a Viking or Norse believer or anything like that, that is like the ultimate curse. So now he's been living through the eons and stuff like that all these years, and constantly looking for battle, constantly trying to find that way into Valhalla. He doesn't even care how he gets there at this point. He just wants to be able to die. Doesn't mean he's going to just go out there and try to kill himself, because you don't get to Valhalla that way either. You got to get there by earning it. And in order to earn it, he's going to have to die in battle. So, an honorable battle at that. So, that being said, the problem with that is, as strong and powerful as he is, it's not going to be any easy feat to take him out, which it shouldn't be. I mean, if it's easy, then what's the point? Hold on a second. Let me get my pen in there. There we go. Okay, here we go. So if you have any questions about anything, if you have any questions about Kinetic, if you have any questions about the studio, if you have any questions about projects I might be working on or what have you, or just to shoot the breeze, feel free to chime in. All right. Meanwhile, I'm just going to sit here in ink and do what they pay me to do. Not sit here and chit chat, even though I like doing that too. Another thing about this character here that if I wish I could, well, I probably could tell you, but I won't. And the reason I won't is because it's such a cool aspect to the character that I don't want to spoil it. We'll let the cat out of the bag once we start soliciting and when we start promoting the book and the characters and stuff like that, more than we are already. Because if we give you too much too soon, why buy the books? Other than the fact you love us, of course. So let's go into the eyes now. I'm going to use a real thick top line. There's a little darkness over the eyes. Because he's not one of your feel good, hey, I'm just here to kick bad guys' butts mentality. Even though that's what he does, but he's got his own inner demons he's fighting every day. And if you start fighting them, well, that's on you. You're a burden to bear at that point. Okay, let me switch over here. It says T3 Comics is telling me hair is really hard when detailed inside too. I'm just now starting to learn that. Jesse is amazing at hair. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Tom. The thing about hair to me is a lot of the time, I'll zoom out a little bit here. I'll focus on the contour here first and do the thick lines. And then I'll come back in and do along the, and I didn't do it here because I wanted to get into the eyes, but I'll come in and I'll start doing the lines that go over the face. These are the lines that I focus on a lot because that's where you're going to have separation from the face to the hair. And in order to do so, you're going to need to have a good, proper use of thicks and thins to create like a shadow. So like this bottom one here is a little thicker than this top one here. Because that's where your volume is when it comes to the hair. And normally on the contours, well, it didn't used to be this way, but nowadays, as long as your thicks and thins have a strong contour line, then you can have all kinds of fun on the interiors. But in the old days, and one of the things I kind of do sometimes, especially on our own stuff, is I still pay attention to that thick and thin and the shadowing underneath it to create volume. So like, for example, here you'll see a nice thin line. Technically, I would probably come back in and thicken in like here, stuff like that, so that this top part's the thinner line, showing my light source is coming down. Because a lot of people don't pay attention to light sources anymore. But they should, because that's where all your shadows come from. And if you want some cool effects, don't just put a bunch of hatching in there. Don't put just a bunch of lines. Make it so there's a reason for it, you know? At least that's my thoughts. You can take it or leave it. Here we go. So the white, see how the eye is now? Now I want to put a little bit more detail in the eye here real quick. There we go. Now this character he's got the war paint on them and stuff like that. You know, things you'd see on a kick butt Viking type dude. And I'll put all that in there in a little bit, but not yet. First of all, I'm going to get the facial structure down. I'm working on that now. Excuse me 1 minute, folks. I need to run real quick. I'm going to turn the air up. It's getting kind of warm in here. So I'll leave you just for that. I'll be right back. Alrighty, folks, I'm back. Sit here and ink a little bit. You want to chime in? By all means, feel free to go ahead. In the meantime, I'm just going to focus on inking. Getting in the program, folks. One moment. There we go. Come on. Says, when pencilers shade in areas like nose shades, do you ink that or leave for the colors to add the shade in? That's a question here from T3 Comics Presents. Are you talking about below the nose, or are you talking about like hatching in the nose? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by areas like nose shade. As you can see below this nose, I actually have the shadow. I ink it in. Sometimes there'll be hatching under there, and I'll hatch under there. I will drop in the lines if they need it. Like technically, like this here, I could come in here and I'll show you, because it's such a harsh line. I could always come in here and do one of these numbers to kind of soften it on one side, and it doesn't hurt anything. Or I could come in, do the long strokes to kind of create a value there as well. But now I'm going to leave it, because I'll come back to it depending on what my light source is and how I play with it. But to answer your question, it really it depends on the effect I want to go for. If I want to make sure that my lines are in there or not. Let's see, you said on here, like side or whatever light makes shade from the nose from the side. Trying to think of what you're talking about there for a second. Yeah. I'd probably have to see an example of what you're asking, because sometimes it really, really, really depends on the character and the style of the artist. Some artists are very fickle about how you interpret their lines, and some of them say, you know what, have fun with it. So really, that plays a part into it as well. You want the end results right, but you want to make sure your penciler is happy as an inker, because if you don't make the penciler happy, then they're not going to request you to do more work with them. Or they'll even actually say, hey, I don't want that guy working on my job with me, you know. I never want that to happen. So I always want to make sure my pencilers are happy. Of course, overall, the customer has to be happy. That's the biggest thing. But I'd have to see what you mean a little bit more, to be honest. Be able to properly answer that question. As you can see here, I knew there was hair coming across the eyebrow, but I drew the eyebrow in, and then I'll erase the area that I know the hair is going to be in. So it's not to interfere with the stroke itself. That's me experimenting on something. I was just trying something out real quick. I'll stay consistent with what I did in the other eye. Keep the experimenting to something else. Okay, so here we go. We got two eyes and some eyebrows. Put the light in there in the iris area. Let's see. Tom just replied again. It says, sorry, light cast onto your face from the side. So one side of your face, the nose would leave a shadow on your face. If your nose was really big, yes. Or if the light is really extreme. Let me see if I can show an example of this here. Let's say the light source was, looks like the light source, let's see. Light source is, excuse me, coming from the right down to the left. So let's just say where, if I wanted to, I could come in here, and I won't keep it here, but if I wanted to, I could always do that, where what you're talking about is right here. Hold on, pen's act up on me again. Okay, be thin lines, and you could always come in and come in and do like a you mean something like that, Tom? It doesn't look bad. You know, it could stay that way if I wanted to keep it that way. I'll wait for your response to see if that's what you're talking about or not. Okay, yes, 100%. Not sure when to do it or when not to. Sometimes pencilers put the lines there, sometimes they just shade it in. And again, that goes back to the penciler's style. I'm glad you did bring that up, though, because, you know, personally, I think this looks kind of cool here, so I'm going to keep it. So thank you on that. Now, I will also add some shading on this side, too, because you got to remember, your face is not a big round ball. It has different valleys and gaps in it. So like even here, Joe put in the a little bit of the hatch lines right in here to show exactly what we're talking about. That's me. A little more controlled than that. Let's see. So let's go. Might be, you know, and also another thing you could do too is ask your pencil, you know, say, you know, just say, hey, do you feel it's really critical that I put this in here, or should I just, you know, do the basic line work and have fun with it that way? You know, they may be able to chime in on something that, you know, even you hadn't thought about. You say, hey, while you're at it, can you do this? Because some pencilers don't know who's going to be inking their work. So they don't know how much they can get away with. So some inkers or some pencilers will come back in and do their own fixes. you know, because I was like, I better put the shading in because I don't know who's going to ink it and I don't want them to screw it up or whatever. Um, if your penciler does know who's following them and feels confident with them, then they might just leave it loose. They might leave it just open. Um, so that's something to keep in mind too. Don't feel intimidated to not talk to your penciler, especially as an inker, because you're following their work. And like it or not, you know, us inkers, we don't get all the rave reviews and stuff that a penciler does. So it's their reputation on the line just as much as yours, because the public eye sees the finished lines. Well, guess what, the world? It's the inker's lines that you're seeing. So they do play a part in it, whether, you know, people want to admit it or not. Some of the greatest inkers out there are ones that, you know, that really do embellish a lot on the penciler's work because they have such a strong awareness and strong artistic acumen that they can do that and not be afraid because they know that the penciler knows what they can do. You know, some pencilers rely on the inkers to fix things because even they don't even know how to fix. And a lot of pencilers right now are going to go, that's not true. You're talking to an inker, buddy. So I know. And as a penciler, I've been in that same boat where I go, man, how do I pull this off, you know? So I'll talk to my colorist and say, hey, is there a way I can accomplish this? Or I'll talk to my inker and say, hey, is there a way that you can do this certain texture? You know, because maybe they might have a way that I hadn't thought of or something. And instead of me guessworking and reinventing the wheel, they might have an answer for that. So it's something else to think about. Don't be afraid to communicate with your creative team. There's a key reason they call it teamwork. Typically, when I'm working on a project with a team, I'll create a conversation thread right there on Facebook or wherever, you know, wherever the team is assembled. And so I have an open line of communication with everybody. Communication is key when you're working with a team. At least I feel it is. Not everybody feels the same way I do. Some people say, just let me work and you figure it out. But I'm not in that ballpark. And as an art director, I don't expect my guys to be in that mindset either. So for all you guys that might work with me, or I'm your art director, there you go. You know how I feel about it now. So. Okay. clean up right there. All right, let's see. All right, folks, I'll be right back. Let me take this call real quick. And Alrighty, folks, I am back. Figured I'd give you all a warning. And as always, I am here, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll go back to working on this piece here. Now, as you can see, and I don't know if for those that watch the whole video to this point, that I have a thick contour line, and I've come back to do the thin line work on that hair. I'm still, no matter what, I'm still a big feathering fan. So I am showing that in this. As always, I'm here to answer questions that I may have answers to. You know, the important questions in life, like what's the meaning of life, and how do I get my comic book out there? You know, important things in life. Let's see. I hear the planes outside. Not too far from the airport here, so you get to hear all the low-flying planes. Fun stuff, you know. Luckily, it's not loud enough to keep you awake at night, but at the same time, it's loud enough that if you don't have the TV blaring or something, you can hear it from time to time. He's looking all right so far, don't you guys? Hope you do. Nobody here is bothering me though, so let's do something about that. Let's cut off some hair here, yay. A little bit better. Now I'll come back in with some thin hash marks and sharpen up the tip there a little bit. There we go. I think that worked out pretty good, don't you? Hope you do. Hope you do. I'm inking to Jesse, so I feel like we're in a studio together. LOL. T3 Comic Studio Presents says. Thanks, Tom. Welcome to the studio. Haha. I miss the old studio days where we'd have a bunch of people all in the same place at one time. When I first had Cadre Corner Studios in St. Augustine, we did that. We had like a few different members in the local area there, and we used to all get together at my house or somebody's place. Typically, it was my house because we already had the setup and everything else. But we used to get together and sit there and draw and brainstorm, and it was nice. We'll get back to that again someday here. That's the plan. Um, I'm excited to show the world what we got in store for them. I know that. This Cornerstone is bringing the A game, folks. Far beyond anything I could have thought of when we first started. I'll be honest with you about that. And all the way across the spectrum too. There's no, I don't think there's a genre that we haven't tapped into or going to tap into. So now I have just been informed from one of my clients and friends, Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon are going to be live tonight on Crypto Comics. They will be doing the Creator Spotlight, same thing that I did a while back, and it was a great experience. So when I get the link, I guess you can go to the Crypto Comics Marketplace Facebook page, and there'll be a link there, I'm sure. But make sure you go there and check them out and listen to what they're doing. I'm sure they'll be talking about the book that me and Steven and Studio are working on, plugging that because that's the crowdfunder we got going on right now. They'll probably talk about the other books as well. So go chime in, say hi, tell them Jesse sent you. Let them know. Gives me some brownie points. I'd love to have gotten in on that with them. That would have been cool. Crypto Comics people, they're a good bunch of guys over there. They really are doing what they do with the right mindset and their places in the right spot. You know, their hearts in the right spot. They really do want to change how the comic marketplace works, and I fully support that. Especially for us indie guys, you know, that are doing indies nowadays because we just want to create. It's a little tougher for us, you know, because we don't have the big wallets and bank accounts behind us, and we're having to hustle. So anytime that a good avenue or a good outlet for our products is showing up, you know, we pay attention and we take notice. A lot of them don't pan out, but then again, you can usually tell if they're going to by how they're set up. And like I said, I really, really like how these people got set up. They're doing something that's never been done before. So yeah, there's that risk factor, but I think they're going to do it right. So, let me pause this. Sorry about that, folks. Someone called me, and then somebody came in the house, so I had to mute the microphone real quick. Somebody comes in the house, then of course the dogs start acting up, and can't blame them. They're just doing their job. So didn't want you all to get barked out of existence by the loud noises. They're good dogs. Can't fault my puppies. Let's see, let's do this. Now, earlier, Tom had mentioned about the shading and shadowing on one side of the face or beyond the nose. Well, here's a good example of how I knew where the light source was. Over here, you can see there's a lot of white negative space and light, where the shadow's coming out of that. And over here, we had a bunch of dark areas. So that kind of told me where the light source was. So now that being said, the next question would be, would there be a lot of, would there be a lot of shading over here? Yes. The question would be that, and the answer would be yes. Am I going to do a lot? Probably not. I will drop some more in here, but not very extreme because I don't want to take away from his facial features. If that makes any sense. So, yeah, it is what it is. Let me get back to this. Is dropping the line weights. I really do like how Joe renders Immortal Lion now, but his own little unique touches to him, which I like a lot. Kudos to you, Joseph. Joseph Arnold, ladies and gentlemen. If I start doing these things more periodically and more scheduled, I'll get Joe on here. You'll see. Ooh, ha, 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 ha. Okay, let's see. Let's take out the blue. Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like where that's going. Now, even though there's nothing shown by the penciler here, I am going to drop in a little bit of some hatching here just to give a little bit of roundness to it. That's one of those instances where you as the inker may want to explore all your options. Let's see. What do you think, folks? That work? Let's do this too. I feel that creates a little bit more depth in the piece, more values. Some may agree with me, some may not, but that's what I'm doing. So, Tom, what do you mean? Okay, I'm just gonna. T3 says, comes back to me. It says, "Do you like indie better than working for Marvel and DC?" And next question is, "I'm just going to harass you with questions. Haha, just kidding." And then finally, he says, "Orion," in response to my question of what he was working on. Do I like working indie better than Marvel and DC? That's a loaded question. Um, there's nothing like working for the big guys, but because you like to work on your the characters you grew up on, of course. That being said, one thing that isn't cool about working for them is you got to wait 3 to 5 months to get paid, and when you got a family, that does play a part in it. But it's more on DC. So how can you say anything bad about them? I don't go in that philosophy of, oh, because they screw things up, I'd never do this and never do that. No, I'd work for them again. Heck yeah. Do I agree with all the politics? No, I don't. But you know what? That's not what I'm paid for. I'm not paid to sit there and debate about what they're doing wrong or what they're doing right. I sit there and I'm paid to do artwork. And these people that say, well, you shouldn't do that out of morals and this and that and the other. You know what? To each their own. I'm not here to judge anybody. But I don't know about you, but I've worked at tons and tons of jobs where I didn't agree with the politics of the company, or I didn't like the person I was working with, or something along those lines. So for me to sit here and tell you that you shouldn't because of that, then I'd be a hypocrite. I've done it many times. I'm sure I'll work for people I don't agree with again, whether I want to or not. It's just how that's just the way the industry is. What do I like about the indie circuit, though? I love the independence, and the reason being is because it's creative, it's new, it's fresh. They allow a lot of creators will allow you a lot of freedom coming in. I mean, if they like your work, they will tell you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do. So, that's just the way it is. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I do enjoy working on the indies for multiple reasons. And now, if I said I didn't, then why am I doing it now? You know what I'm saying? So, I know your question was, do I like it better? There are things about it I like better. Yeah. I like the freedom that I have now compared to before. And I'm not even talking about deadlines. I'm talking about, I can call my own shots, a little bit more. I can work my own schedule. I can say yes or no to certain jobs if I don't want it. Or if I'm too busy, I can actually tell you, hey, I'm too busy right now to do it. With the big boys, if you tell them you can't do something, you're probably not going to get that second call again. That's just saying. When they call on you, if you're not already a big name or something, they can always find someone else. They're not hurting for talent over there. I mean, they can hire anybody from our studio, Marvel DC. Just so you know, Cornerstone Creative Studios. I got plenty of talent for you if you want to hire some of us. I'm sure they won't mind a paycheck, and they sure won't mind working for the big guys. And I'll be honest with you, there are people in my studio that are more than qualified and more than good enough to really impress some people. Shoot, there's been quite a few of us that have done work over there, so yeah. Some of us just don't have the opportunities that they had at one time. I won't bore you all with stories about that kind of stuff, but let's just say sometimes life throws a curveball at you, or you choose to play a different game. And then that changes the dynamic of things. Let's see here. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if it does or not. Looks like I'm almost done with this panel. I'll finish this panel up right here before I shut it off. At least y'all can see it. Sorry if I'm not talking as much as you'd probably like, because nobody just wants to see somebody work, but gotta get these deadlines done. So I'm just basically, I had it open live so that if people want to chime in, they can. So basically, if you don't talk, then I probably won't talk too much either, because I'm just trying to get this stuff done. Excuse me. Let's go over here. So if you have any questions for me. How do you feel about digital compared to inking by hand with paper? Positives and negatives. This is from T3 Comics again. Thanks for Tom for sticking out with me here. Give me something to talk about that I'm allowed to talk about and that people might actually want to know. Negatives compared to traditional. Negatives and positives from traditional compared to digital, I mean. Oh, that's a good one. Now, I will say that they've come a long way with digital inking. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. I still love the traditional ink from the Need of Rises. But positives, let's see. Positives to traditional. One is you can sell the originals when you're done. With digital, obviously, you're not selling anything because you don't have any physical thing to sell. I have sold some digital works before though, but had to do more with selling rights and stuff like that. Um, let's see, another negative to digital as opposed to traditional is sometimes the organic feel of it. You know, this is where they've come a long way. They've come a long, long way and given you a lot of instant responses with your, your pen tools and stuff like that. And in fact, you can create custom brushes and what have you. But I still feel there's certain things that with the digital that with traditional that you just can't reestablish that same feel when it comes to the digital aspect of it. Sorry, I'm inking and talking at the same time. Can't multitask very well. They're just like, you made the compliment on me about hair earlier, Tom, and I thank you for that. Hair is something that's tricky when it comes to the digital aspects compared to traditional, because traditional, I can grab a brush and I can keep that organic feel to it, but with digital, it takes a little while to get used to it, to be able to accomplish that. It took me a little while just to get the feel of doing feathering, even when it comes to digital, because 9 times out of 10, if I see somebody doing digital work, well, I don't see them. If I see their work, and I can tell if it's digital or not. You can tell by certain brush strokes, you can tell by certain patterns used, or jumps in line work, stuff like that, which I'm not a big fan of. So I even tend to ink digitally like I would be if I was doing it traditionally. I approach it the same way, just because I tried not to get stuck in that pigeonhole of, well, that's the medium you're using. I don't want to be in that box. But I still like to ink digitally, which leads me to the other part of the answer to that question is, what is the positives of digital? Time, having to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, or what should we call it? If you are in a way of I don't like that either. Digital positives. Time is one. Editing is another. Being able to do things in layers is another positive. Giving the finished product a tighter, higher resolution to your publisher. You don't have to worry about scans. You don't have to worry about scan quality, file sizes that way. You can just drop it down as a digital file, save it as a different format, what have you, and boom, you're done. Now, they have come a long way as far as tools and stuff for the digital world, which helps a lot. So that's a good positive. I can zoom in on things now, whereas before I'd sit there with a magnifying glass and try to get some of the details I can get in nowadays. But and yeah, all those details won't come out in the print, but it still looks so cool on the screen. So there we go. So that's probably some of the positive and negatives that I look at. I'm sure if you ask around, you'll get even more of a wide variety. One negative with digital, though, if your pen screws up like mine does from time to time, then you end up fighting it. So you lose some of that time you've gained by digital inking. So, there's that. Um, I think that's pretty much it for me. I mean, I'm pretty simple. I'm a simple kind of guy that, um, as long as things work the way they're supposed to work and I'm able to produce the way I'm supposed to produce, then I'm a happy camper, you know? Like I wouldn't be doing this right here traditionally, this way. I'd be using a T-square, triangle, or straight edge of some sort. So yeah, this is a plus to digitally doing it. I can do stuff like this. Whereas before, it would have been a lot more time consuming. Yeah, and right now, some people are probably looking at it going, what are you doing, man? You're putting lines right through the thing. Well, no, I'm not, because it's on a different layer. And you'll see that when I finish here, I'm able to take my eraser tool, go on that same layer that I just drew that thing on, and as soon as this thing lets me, because my pin's acting up again. So I was talking about earlier about pins. Okay, here we go. I'm back. Let's see. See, I can just go in here like this. Erase from that one particular layer without fear of messing up my artwork layer. See, if you're doing this traditionally right here, then if you had to go back in with whiteout, well, guess what? You're doing it right on top of the other artwork. And if you did a line going across your artwork, you're going, oh, crap. How tight do I got to get this? Or do I figure out a way to cover it up or what have you? This tool, with doing layers and stuff like that, I don't have to worry about that. For example, bada bing, bada boom. See what I mean? There he is. This is Immortal Lion, ladies and gentlemen. And let me save my file before I lose all of it, because that would really, 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 really stink. Let's see. X. Medical tour. 1. Page 23X. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Tom. Actually did have a lot of fun inking this character. I might come back and do some more stuff with him. We'll see. Wait for this file to save real quick, and then I'll go back to it real quick. Like I said, I up all my inking files up to 1200 TPI, 11 by 17. So they're pretty big when I'm doing this stage. The good thing about digital inks is the native file isn't that big. So then when I flatten it and I save it as a single layered TIFF file in grayscale format, key point there because of the fact that you want to keep grayscale to keep your file sizes down. It comes into play, Like I'm looking at this file right now. I'm looking at this image, and I can do all kinds of things to it right now. But for this session, I think I'm going to call it a day on this session. Go back to some of the pay work and get that stuff done. But it gives me the basis so that when I come back to it, I can drop in some textures. I can drop in some more lighting, some shadows, but gets the line work down. So at least I can say I got some productivity done on one of our studio projects. So win-win all the way across the board. It gave me a good warm-up too for when I go back to the sequential stuff. Again, I hope you liked. And I will be talking to you soon. As for you, Tom, thanks for hanging out with me, buddy. And we'll do something here soon. All right. And if you ever go live streaming or something like that, give me the link. I'll hook up with you if I can. Alrighty, folks. So, peace out. Be blessed. And I will talk to you soon.